To ballrooms or other event spaces. "This is an event space," he replied. "No one lives here. They rent it for mixers because it's right on the ocean. It's got a pretty sweet ocean view. You'll see." My head turned back toward the street to make sure I wasn't being followed by the security detail I'd been dodging all week. Then I nodded at the man. "All right, then." He held out a hand to escort me through the doorway. "Watch your step." An electric current ran up my arm at his touch. As our eyes met, I sincerely hoped he was unaware of the dangers beyond this doorway if I really was walking into a trap. I would hate to think of him as a murderer. Delectable Doorman was much better. "Thank you," I said, letting go of his hand and looking away from his crooked smile again. I was here to meet a wealthy American businessman to solve all my problems, and if I spent any more time talking to this doorman, no matter how attractive he was, I would never accomplish that goal. "You're welcome," he replied. Turning, I smoothed my hands down my dress as I made my way down the dark hallway. When I made it to a break in the wall, I gasped as the whole ambience changed in the room beyond it. As promised, this venue had a pretty sweet view. The hallway opened up into a magnificent and bright, formal entertaining space. White marble and teakwood covered most surfaces, and floor-to-ceiling windows gave an unobstructed view of the Pacific Ocean only footsteps away. All thoughts of heading to my death in a dingy basement were forgotten as I took in the lavish party below. All right, I had made it. I was here. There was no going back now. I surveyed the room full of well-dressed singles from my position at the top of the stairs. Women in semi-formal attire laughed and sipped champagne, while men in a rainbow of suits mingled about. There was an air of excitement about the room, which I imagined made sense given the fact that they were all probably trying to make a great first impression, so they got a chance to make a second one. Before joining them, I wanted to take a moment to revel in the fact that absolutely no one cared I was here. No eyes were scrutinizing me from head to toe. No mouths were hidden behind hands as they whispered about me. No eager men stood at the foot of the stairs, hoping to be the first one to ask me to dance. I was just another ordinarily beautiful woman in a sea of other ordinarily beautiful women. It was all I had ever wanted, and I loved it. In fact, even walking from the car to the door was a treat. Normally, there would have been a crowd of spectators awaiting my arrival. How they always seemed to know where I was going to show up was beyond me. My guards would have to hold their arms out and shield me. Not enough so that I couldn't reach out and shake a few hands, but enough to make sure no one tried to grab me. It never ceased to amaze me how many people actually thought that was acceptable behavior. Yes, my life in America promised to be very different from the one I had back home. If I got my way, I could come and go as I pleased with no one caring to take a second look at me. The very idea of that had me buzzing with excitement, so I couldn't wait to get downstairs to initiate the first part of my grand plan to make it happen. Psst. I jumped, placing a hand over my heart as I found the dashing doorman standing at the edge of the hall, just out of sight from the crowd. "You startled me." "Sorry," he said with a laugh. Then he held up a bejeweled pin. "I think you dropped this." My hand flew to the updo I had attempted in my long red hair, and sure enough, a pin was missing. Back home, I had a team of people who did my hair and makeup before a big event. Applying makeup seemed to be something of a talent of mine, but my hair was a completely different story. My stylists back home were wizards with curling wands, as far as I was concerned. "Thank you," I said, stepping away from the stairs and coming back into the hallway with him. I took the pin from his outstretched hand and raised my arms, realizing almost immediately that I did not have the skills to get this right without a mirror. Before I could ask him where the bathroom was, he held his hand out once again. "May I?" I bit my lip as my eyes scanned his sincere expression. Would that be weird? Did I dare to let a stranger fix my hair when I didn't even know his name? As strange as it could be, he had offered after all. And Americans were typically more casual by nature, weren't they? Perhaps I was overthinking it. Besides, I was eager to get to the party. "Are you sure you don't mind?" I asked.